Hey, how's it going everybody? It's Tanner here, and welcome back to a new Ninjago Season 13 discussion video here on the channel. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the theory in Ninjago that Clouse is going to be returning in Season 13 as the main villain, otherwise known as the Skull Sorcerer. So let's go ahead and discuss what pieces of evidence there are to support this theory and why I think it might be a good idea to have Clouse return. So first things first, the last time we saw Clouse, believe it or not, was actually in a series of comic books that are, I guess, canon to Ninjago. And of course, this is been referenced throughout the series in several ways that these events are canon, and that is the Dark Island trilogy of books in which Clouse is the main villain. Now at the end of that story, Clouse gets banished to the underworld, and it's assumed that he took command of the skeleton army that Garmadon once commanded as well. So let's go ahead and break that down then. So Clouse being in the underworld is one thing, but the actual Season 13 story taking influence from these skeletons and actually building upon that is another thing entirely, and those two things could actually line up, because think about it. If Clouse was banished into the underworld, and of course his whole thing is using magic, and then all of a sudden this Skull Sorcerer guy shows up, clearly people are going to make the connection that Clouse is the Skull Sorcerer, especially if he took command of the skeleton army. The only thing holding back this theory, in my opinion, is that Clouse is, of course, morally evil, but these skeletons really are not. They were actually, I guess, turned good in some capacity, and I really don't see them being villains anymore. Samakai's gone, and the actual skeleton army as a whole is seemingly fine. However, if you look at some of the new upcoming Season 13 sets, you can definitely see a few things that might, I guess, push this theory even more. For example, these skeletons that do appear are black skeletons, and of course that might be, I guess, a sign for them being corrupted in some way, perhaps by Clouse to go ahead and do his bidding. And also the actual sets do appear to take place in several dark caves, as you can see from this box art. It definitely does seem like they are underground in some way. So could they be, I guess, connecting to the underworld? The underworld is an entirely different realm in Ninjago, so I don't really think you can get through it just by, falling through a hole in the ground, but who knows? Garmadon was sent down there being struck by lightning, and the ninjas' dragons can get down there at will, so who really knows at this point what exactly is going to be going on with that. The ninja are probably going to end up in some new world, and whether or not that is the underworld remains to be seen. But if they are in the underworld and the skeleton army is back and Clouse just so happened to be down there, and he just so happened to take command of that army, then I think it's very plausible that Clouse could in fact be the main villain of Season 13. So I think it'd be a cool idea to have him back, and of course the season does focus on Cole and Clouse had a brief interaction in Season 4, but it really wasn't anything too major. It was just a small little thing from what I can remember. So of course that could always change in Season 13. He could very well be the main villain, but I have a feeling that no matter how this lines up, Season 13 might list the Skull Sorcerer as an entirely different character. I think it's entirely possible that it could be Clouse, but I feel like they're going to make it a brand new character. I'm not saying, of course, that I wouldn't want Clouse to come back in this role. I'm just saying that Ninjago kind of has a habit of, I guess, creating new characters instead of going back and, I guess, attaching themselves to older villains that could very well return. There are still several villains from Ninjago's past that could very well return in future seasons, but they just haven't yet for obvious reasons. They want to go ahead and introduce new villains. So Clouse could be the Skull Sorcerer, and he could be the main villain of Season 13. It would all line up perfectly, but I don't know if they will do that or not. I would like them to do it again, but I'm not sure if they will. So with that being said, that'll just about do it for my thoughts on this theory. Leave a comment down below talking about what you would like to see in Season 13. Do you think Clouse should return as a villain, or do you feel like the Skull Sorcerer is going to be a completely different villain in general? Leave all your thoughts down below, and I look forward to reading what you guys come up with. With all that being said, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, do all that fun stuff, and check out the links down below in the description for my other forms of social media. As always, big shout out goes out to my Patreon supporters, including once again the Marvelous Jan. Thank you guys so much for watching this video once again. My name is TannerFishies, and with that I bid you farewell.